Welcome, chosen of Nurgle. The grandfather blessed our brother Maladus with a rework. Relentless and unstoppably tough, Blight Lord Terminators are elite Death Guard warriors who are bound forever to their mutated armor. They are saturated with foulness, which pours off them to rot flesh and corrode metal. I've always liked Maladus. Just look at that smile.
Maladus was always a staple character for legendary events. He is tough as nails and pairs perfectly with Rotbone, which he shares a lot of traits with for a nigh unkillable core of any team. His ability to kill more than one enemy a turn helps extremely when fending off hordes of enemies. This ability, his passive Haze of Corruption, has been greatly increased. Now its damage has been doubled, and it deals toxic instead of power damage, increasing the pierce ratio of his extra hit by an additional 30%. Whenever Maladus kills an enemy, the leftover damage plus an additional hit depending on the ability level will be dealt to a random enemy next to the initial target and Maladus. If that one is killed as well, the passive is triggered a second time against the other enemy adjacent to both. If you're in the thick of it, I prefer hitting an enemy you can actually kill, so the extra damage plus the bonus on the passive definitely jumps over to more enemies. An additional bonus of the change type, other than the increased damage from higher pierce ratio, is the 25% chance to contaminate a hex of an enemy hit with toxic damage. Especially in legendary events, you might not want to move yourself onto that hex and stay stationary as always. The enemies replenishing the ranks will get a penalty of 30% of their armor standing on contagion hexes, helping you to deal even higher damage. As a Death Guard unit, Maladus won't be debuffed from contagions when standing on them. Maladus' damage has always been good, and with 3 hits of power damage, he's currently well over average and at place 22 against no armor. Against infinite armor, his damage is at place 20, but exceeds the average damage even more. The normal pierce of 40% of his attacks is decent, but so ubiquitous you could call it average. This is a treacherous assessment though, as with the faction trait Contagions of Nurgle, enemies will suffer minus 20% armor if they are in Maladus' contagion range. The range increases during the length of a battle, but the short range of his weapon means he will always profit from it. If an enemy stands within 2 contagion ranges, this is increased to a 40% penalty, which makes the combination with the fellow Death Guard Rotbone even better. And even if Maladus himself doesn't need the 3 hexes of range from round 5 on, all other friendly fighters will also profit from the armor debuff. Once per battle, Maladus' active Flail Swing makes Maladus deal 3 hits of around 1370 power damage, more than twice his normal damage, also profiting from Haze of Corruption, always overkilling the affected enemies, preventing not only Final Vengeance, but also Resilient, which could hinder your ability to use Haze of Corruption multiple times. Now, defensively, Maladus isn't a slouch either. As a Terminator, he reduces the first damage he suffers each round by 75%, and he cannot be suppressed, which is crucial, as his move of 2 and range of 1 make it really necessary for him to stay mobile. Maladus is also resilient, falling to 1 health instead of dying if not overkilled. He can get equipped with a crit item, a block item, as well as a block booster. If you get him to Mythic, his relic is the Demon Flesh Blade, in the block slot for the usual 30% block chance, as well as an armor bonus each time he attacks. This counts each instance he deals damage to an enemy, which means a lot of the time you will trigger this 2 to 3 times due to his passive. If you need to get him to Mythic, I've already covered his Mythic missions in this video. After 8 attacks, the bonus will be reset, and the active ability reactivated, letting him spike damage more often. Not that armor would be a weakness for Maladus in any case. Before the rework, he was place 7 already. This has been increased by 22% though, making him place 2, just behind Kut. And we all know Kut is no worthy rival. For health, he's also in place 4, although the range between the highest and lowest health is not as big as it is for armor. This is impressive. Maladus was always great. He's one of, if not the most defensive character in game, and deals good damage even against multiple enemies. This makes him great in legendary events, where your own speed rarely matters. There he fills some nice niches, not even talking about the plethora of teams a character with the normal 3 hits will slot in. Contagions of Nurgle hasn't happened as a requirement yet, but could always become relevant, as we saw with the orcs for Dante. Resilient without Imperium only has 8 characters. Terminator has 9 characters total, but only 6 without the Imperium. Power without Xenos is no problem at 27 characters, but if you cut the Imperium, you go down to 9. Hence, I'm not excited for the new Imperials with power damage, but for Chaos, it's actually pretty nice. Toxic damage is new for Maladus and hasn't been a requirement yet, as in any combination without affection you only get 4 characters with it. If it ever becomes relevant, he will fill quite the niche with it though. So, all in all, Maladus is useful for his traits alone, but combined with his heavy bulk and damage output, he is an ideal character in legendary events. Just be sure to hide some kind of healer behind him. He can tank and stay relatively healthy, whatever that means for Nurgle warriors. The same combination will bear fruit in Guild Wars as well, where it might be hard to dispatch the team. He is also excellent in his own campaign event, as well as helping out in the 2 Chaos campaigns, where he is a great ally. I can also imagine people using him effectively in Arena, but most prefer speedier solutions to get the amount of fights done every week. In Faction Tournament Arena, Maladus is a valuable member of a quite good team, so no complaints here. He might be hard to shift, but he has his disadvantages. The melee focus as well as his slow speed make him too slow for time-sensitive modes. In survival, he can do some work, but he will struggle to arrive on time. Survival's escalating difficulty also makes him hard to justify depending on the map. On small maps he will do a lot of damage and stay strong, but his weak positioning skills makes it hard to kill enemies fast enough. The same applies to guild raids, where he's just too slow and 3 hits sits in a weird spot where more hits aren't as attractive and there's just better options with more hits to buff damage. Maladus has always been a great character, readily available even to newer players, helping out in campaigns and a very good investment long term due to his excellent staying power and utility in legendary events. The changes have only made aspects of him that were already good better, and I'm dubious the rework was all that necessary. The better synergy with his own faction and the Plague Crawler is a cool idea though, and hardly anyone will complain, as most people have already invested in him to some extent. The Relic is excellent for him too, and as a character you get a steady influx of shards for, he will be one of the earlier mythic characters for most people. Getting him a Demon Flesh Blade is definitely worth it. Did you like that look at Maladus? It's a new concept for me to go over an older character, but when if not now after he has just been changed. If you've watched till now, I'll ask you to use my referral code BAD60ADU for 100 Blackstone for you and various rewards for me. Should you not be subscribed yet, I'd really love if you did so. You'll hear from me in the next video. Have a great day.